In this video, I'm going to be putting Cenat in the NBA, but while he is 5'4" and 81 overall, he's probably not going to have a great deal of success. And that's why I've gone ahead and maxed out his potential. As you can see, it's 99, so he has the chance to get a couple of rings in New York with the Knicks. And what better way to start that with a very strong team? He's got Karl-Anthony Towns, Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby all on the same team to kick things off. Of course, he's going to be on the bench under Mikal Bridges at that shooting guard spot for a lot of the season, but let's see what he can do in this first season within the NBA. Drop in the comments down below how many rings you think Kai will be able to get before he goes ahead and retires. So the first season is wrapped and Luka Doncic has won himself the MVP award, 31, 9, and 9 for him. We got Cenat though getting Rookie of the Year, putting up 21, 2, and 3, and the Knicks were absolutely ridiculous this season, but that's a good start for this career simulation with Cenat getting Rookie of the Year. Westbrook's going to win himself 6th Man of the Year, Wemby Defensive Player of the Year, and then Luka Doncic Clutch Player of the Year as well. Jason Kidd Coach of the Year with the Dallas Mavericks. They were doing pretty well this season, but let's check the all NBA teams. The first team's going to have these guys on it, but is Cenat going to get into any of the all NBA teams? Of course, he's going to be in the rookie team. I doubt he'll make any of the defensive teams through this simulation. He's not in the all NBA teams, but he is going to be in that rookie first team, which is good to see. As you can see though, the Knicks, as I mentioned, were doing absolutely ridiculous. 62 wins throughout the season, only 20 losses, which is nuts. That gets them the first seed in this Eastern Conference. So we'll get through the play-in tournament, and Cenat has a decent chance at getting through the playoffs and actually winning himself a ring in his very first season. So we got the first matchup up against the Pacers, and they're actually going to take game one, although I reckon the Knicks will probably be able to come back, although they're 2-0 down at the moment. There we go, 2-1 to the Pacers, 2-2 now with the Knicks bringing it back, and they put it back to a game 6, which is good to see. But the Pacers are fighting back to take this to a game 7. What is going on at the moment? We got Halliburton getting 37, Siakam on 20, Turner on 20 as well. Mikal Bridges put up 35 points. Cenat there with 14, 2, and no assists, which isn't great at all. He somehow managed to get a block, which is ridiculous because he's only 5'4" in the game, which is nuts. Let's see what happens in game 7. Could this be the end of the first season already for Cenat? We're going to go into the simcast to see what actually goes ahead and happens. Hopefully the Knicks can pull through. They are the first seed and they've had a great regular season, but this is looking like a tight game between them and the Pacers for this game 7 to go through to the next round. And just as I say that, the Knicks start to pull away now, as you can see, making it look fairly comfortable towards the end. They're 141 to 115. Let's check the box score on that 7th game. Cenat down there on 18, 3, and 4, which isn't bad. I'm surprised he's getting 3 rebounds, to be honest, with this team, but he's a little bit down on his scoring in the playoff run. But now they're up against the Atlanta Hawks, who are the 4th seed in this game. Hopefully they can go ahead and make a bit more of an easier matchup this time around in the second round. They're going up 3-0 in the series, and they're going to sweep the Hawks 4-0 in that one over here. They're up against Boston now, which is going to be a fairly tough game. As you can see, they've got Drew Holiday, Derek White, Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis as well. But the Knicks have got a very strong team, and of course, you've got Cenat coming off the bench with his potential. So let's simulate through game 1, which is going to go to Boston. Not a great start for the New York Knicks. Game 2 also going to Boston. Game 3 though is going to New York, so it's going to be 2-1 in this series, and New York are fighting back to put this 3-2 in this series. Let's see what's going on. Kai going 23-3 with 1 steal as well, which is great to see. So can they make this series not go to a game 7 like it did in the first round against Boston? We'll go ahead and simulate this one to see what happens. Can Cenat get into the final in his very first season? We're going through it. It's looking fairly close. The Celtics have got a lead though, which is not looking good. Can the Knicks fight back? It's not looking likely. 113 to 103. I think this is going to be all over. No point in hopping into the game. It's going to be another game 7 for the New York Knicks. But can they take down the Boston Celtics? They're at home this time around, which should hopefully help them get the dub. They are ahead, which is good to see. Come on, we need them to win this to get to the final, although the Boston Celtics are fighting back. We got 2 minutes 36 left and it's tied at 103 apiece. Can Kai get to the final in his first season? Let's hop on in to see what happens. You got Boston inbounding the ball. Jason Tatum, what's he gonna do? He's trying for a shot, but it's not looking like it's an option. He's played it out to Drew Holiday, posting up Jalen Brunson, trying to find a little bit of space. He's found the space though, and he comes through off the right hand side for that easy layup. Cenat is on the court, so we got to see what he's going to do in this game to help the Knicks. Brunson all the way up to Towns against Porzingis. He goes up for the tough layup, and he misses it, with Porzingis able to get the rebound. There's only 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go, and the Boston Celtics are only up by 2 points. What are the Celtics going to do now with this possession? Tatum in the corner against OG Anunoby. He's trying to drive in, trying to find the space, but he's not looking like he's going to find a way through. He's gone for the pull-up 2-pointer, though. He misses it, and Towns is able to get the rebound. Come on, the Knicks need some big plays to get some buckets. They play it over to Cenat, and he looks absolutely tiny up against Porzingis. But Brunson, what's he going to do? He spins, goes up for the tough shot, and again, missing the shot as Holiday's able to get the rebound that time. He's played it over to Tatum, a quick 3-pointer, and he drains the 3 to put the Celtics up 108 to 103. Come on, the Knicks need some magic here to get them through to the final. It's a win or go home situation in game 7 here in the conference finals. They found McBride though for 3, and he knocks it down, coming back with a 3 of his own to put the Knicks within 2 points of the Boston Celtics. Tatum trying to find a little bit of extra space, trying to get around OG Anunoby. He plays it back out to Springer, who's going to hold the ball. They get the pick and roll going, but he goes for the 3-pointer and he misses it. OG Anunoby now with the rebound. Can the Knicks find something? They find Cenat. Can he find a bucket? He goes for the 3-pointer and unfortunately just misses that shot. His release is really slow in this game, and he unfortunately misses that one. But what are the Boston Celtics going to do to respond? Tatum puts up a shot over Kai, and he knocks it down. That height difference making a big difference to get him the bucket. So the Knicks down by 4 points. What are they going to do? They're trying with Brunson to get around Drew Holiday. He's got through, and he comes through with that easy two-handed slam to put them again within 2 points of the Celtics. They need a stop and a basket to get them through to the finals. But can they do that? Tatum, he's gone for the spin move into the layup, and he's missed it. Towns able to get the rebound. So come on, the Knicks really need a bucket now to get them back on terms with the Boston Celtics. Brunson goes up for the layup. He misses it, gets his own rebound, puts it back up, and again misses the shot. And the Knicks now intentionally foul. The Celtics have Tatum at the free throw line, and he's missed the second free throw, which isn't great. He made the first one, so the Knicks do have another chance to get back at the Celtics. What are they going to do over here? Brunson over to Towns in the corner for 3, and he misses it. But OG Anunoby able to get the rebound off to Brunson this time, and again missing the shot. And again, they'll intentionally foul. They decided to sub out Cenat, but I think it's going to be all over for the New York Knicks unless Tatum misses both his free throws, but he's going to make the first one. And they've only got 1.7 seconds left after this second free throw, which is another made shot. So they're down by 5 points. I think that's game over for the New York Knicks. Brunson's going to heave it, and that is going to be the end of the game. That almost went in for a second, and I thought it was going to go in. But the Celtics are going to go through to the finals. Cenat and the New York Knicks are going to be out in that conference finals, which isn't bad for a rookie season. And of course, Kai winning Rookie of the Year is not bad at all. I had high hope for the Knicks in this first season, but we're going to have to wait and see what else can happen in future seasons. Cenat didn't play that badly considering his regular season stats. He had 19, 1, 2, and 1, which isn't bad at all. But I think it was just the scoring output from the whole team compared to the Boston Celtics just made a big difference. And of course, Cenat's height is definitely not going to help New York Knicks at all, standing at 5'4". And at the end of that one, it's going to be another game 7 in the final, but the Clippers are going to edge it. Kawhi Leonard getting himself finals MVP in that one against the Boston Celtics. So at the beginning of season 2, Cenat is looking like he's going to be a starter for the Knicks, now up to 89 overall, which isn't bad at all. He's put in the work in the offseason, and of course that potential is going to help him out. So let's see what the Knicks can do one step further than they did last year and actually make it to the finals, and then who knows, maybe actually go ahead and win it. And this win streak is looking promising to start the season off. Are they going to go ahead and go 82-0? Unfortunately not. The Pacers ruined that on November the 9th, and same with the Cavs. So let's see what happens at the end of this season. So Doncic is going to go back-to-back winning MVP awards. How long before Kai can go ahead and win it? Wemby again getting another Defensive Player of the Year trophy, and Jason Kidd leading the Dallas Mavericks to 66 wins throughout the season. Antetokounmpo is injured though this time around, which is going to be interesting come the playoffs. Let's check Cenat's stats over here to see what's been going on for him this season in the NBA. And it looks like he's made a big improvement over last season, now up to 25 points per game, 4 rebounds and 4 assists, which is great to see. I'm not sure how he's getting the rebounds standing at 5'4", but those rebound stats are really helping him out. The Knicks again getting the first seed in the Eastern Conference, the Pacers getting the second seed this time, and we have to watch out for them come the playoffs because they did send it to a game 7 last time around. But the Knicks are going to come up against the Atlanta Hawks, and they managed to play against them fairly well last time around. So let's see what happens in this first round of the playoffs. It's going to be 2-0 up for the Knicks. 3-0 now. Can they sweep the Hawks? They aren't, unfortunately, though, as the Hawks take game 4. And there we go. The Knicks are through to the next round, which is great to see. We had Cenat in the last game getting 26, 7, and 6, which is good to see. So let's see what they can do against the Raptors over here in the second round of the playoffs. They're going up 1-0. The Raptors fighting back to put the series at 1-1. And again, winning game 3 over there. So now the Knicks are in a bit of trouble. They're 3-1 down in this series. What is going on at the moment? Cenat 29 points, Karl-Anthony Towns on 25, Mikal Bridges on 19, and the other team have just basically distributed their scoring a lot more than the New York Knicks. But can the Knicks fight back over here? Otherwise, they're going to be out in the second round of the playoffs, which is a lot worse than what they did last season. They are going to comfortably take the next game 112-81 over there. They need to win 2 more in a row, though, if they want to make it back to the conference finals. And they're again going to take the next game 133-126. And now it's down to a game 7 where they're at home. So hopefully they can make the home court advantage count. And they have just started to pull away a little bit towards the final quarter. 99-89 isn't bad at all. And now we're up against the Pacers. They were trouble last season, forcing it to a game 7. Let's see what happens this time around. The Knicks are going to take game 1 and game 2 to put them up 2-0 and now up to 3-0. And they are going to sweep the Indiana Pacers, which is absolutely nuts. Halliburton put up 32 points in the final game. Bronson going for 30 as well. Kai down on 15, 4 and 1. He was having a bad day in that game over there. Towns on 26 and 17 rebounds, which is absolutely nuts. But who are the Knicks going to play in the finals? It's going to be the Golden State Warriors, led by Steph Curry, putting up 37, 6 and 7 in the Western Conference. Towns getting Eastern Conference Finals MVP, which isn't bad. But let's check out this Warriors lineup. They got Steph, they got Brandon, they got Wiggins, Kuminga, and Andre Drummond. It's not a bad lineup, although I think the Knicks should be able to take this one. We got Mikal Bridges starting over Cenat now at that shooting guard spot. But let's see what happens in the final. The Knicks have already made it through one more round than they did last season. They're going to go 2-0 up against the Warriors. The Warriors fighting back, though, to win game 3. The Knicks going up 3-1 in this series. Can Cenat go ahead and win a ring in his second season in the NBA? The Knicks are at home in this game. Can they make it count? And we got 22 seconds left to go. The Knicks are going to be down by 3 points. So this is going to be a little bit tricky to see if they can make a little bit of a comeback. Cenat is not on the court at the moment. Mikal Bridges is instead going to be at that shooting guard spot. But what can Brunson and the other Knicks players do to get that ring? They go for the 3-pointer. Unfortunately missing it, and they're going to have to intentionally foul now to send the Warriors to the line. Draymond's going to miss his second free throw, which does give the Knicks a little bit of a chance here. They got 7.4 seconds to get 4 points. I'm guessing they'll need a quick 3-pointer, a stop, and another bucket. They play it over to Brunson on the right-hand side, and he knocks down the 3-pointer to put them within 1 point. So who are the Warriors going to play it to send to the line? They played it over to Steph, and I think he's probably going to have no trouble at all knocking them down. Brunson is going to be fouled out, though. That's a big blow for the New York Knicks, and that does mean that Cenat is back on the court. But Curry's going to make the first free throw. Is he going to make the second? He does. So the Knicks need a 3-pointer to send this game to overtime. They played it over to Cenat. He's played it all the way over to Hart on the left-hand side. And Hart, unfortunately, just missing that shot. Kai almost getting the assist to send the game to overtime. But unfortunately, it's going to be another game played in the series to determine the winner. Kai going for 34 points in that game is hopefully going to bode well for the next one in the finals. The Golden State Warriors are at home, and they're making that home advantage count over here. Although the Knicks have started to pull away a little bit, it is still kind of tight. Not really, though. 11 points in it between the two teams, and that, I think, is going to be the end of the game. 117-104 means the Knicks have won a championship, and Kai gets finals MVP, putting up 29, 3 and 3, which is not a bad stat line at all. So Cenat, first year winning Rookie of the Year, second year getting finals MVP and a ring to top it all off in that second year. How much better can it get for Cenat? Well, that does mean that Kai has gone up again in overall to 89 now, which isn't bad at all. He's 27 years old. He's still got 4 years left on his New York Knicks contract, and he's still got a very strong team around him with still Towns and still Jalen Brunson, now at a 90 overall, which isn't bad at all. Around the league, there hasn't been much change in what teams people are playing for, though it is only the third season in this simulation, So I'm not expecting massive changes in terms of team. Steph Curry is still in the league now at 38 years old, which is absolutely nuts, and he's still playing for the Golden State Warriors. Let's simulate through this regular season to see how much better the Knicks have got, although they've already got 2 losses to start things off in the first 2 weeks of the season. So Wemby has managed to go from getting DPOY to now getting the MVP award with 26 and 13, which is absolutely nuts. Ace Bailey getting Rookie of the Year, Giddey getting 6th Man of the Year, and Wemby again getting himself another Defensive Player of the Year trophy. The Nuggets going 54 wins throughout the season. The Pistons going 56 wins throughout the season. Cenat not in the first team or the second team, and not even in the third team, which is a little bit of a shame to see. What has happened to Cenat? Let's go into the standings and see what his stats are looking like with the team. He's up there putting up 26, 5 and 4. So I'm not really too sure why he wasn't in the first team, considering those stats are still fairly good, and he's up to 89 overall. The Knicks are down 1 spot to the 2nd seed this time around. They haven't been playing as good as they have been in the regular season, but the 2nd seed is not bad at all. They're up against the Hawks, who we've managed to beat quite a few times in this simulation already, and they're going to take the series in 7 games. I thought it might be an easy matchup against the Hawks, but I was wrong. Cenat putting up 32, Brunson going for 40 in that final game to make sure they got the double. I'm not going to be simulating through the round this time around, as they're up against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are going to take game 1, the Knicks taking game 2 to tie it up, and game 3 to put them up 2-1. They're going to go up 3-1 in the series, and they're going to win it 4-1 over there. Brunson and Kai both putting up above 20 points, which is good to see, but who are they going to come up against in the next round? It's going to be the 1st seed with Detroit Pistons. They've got Cade Cunningham at a 95 overall, Thompson at 85, and Stewart there an 80 overall, which isn't a bad team at all, and there's a reason why they are the 1st seed in the Eastern Conference. They're going to take game 1. Game 2, though, going to the Knicks. Can the Knicks find another way back to the finals and try and win a back-to-back championship? They're up 3-1 in the series. Detroit, though, taking game 5 to put it up 3-2, and they're forcing game 7 over here in the Eastern Conference Finals. Cenat leading the Knicks at 28 points, but the Pistons 45-point game for Cade Cunningham is absolutely nuts. So let's see what happens in this 7th game. Can the Knicks get to the finals for a 2nd year in a row, or will their run end here against the Pistons? And the Knicks are finding themselves in a bit of trouble. It's 117 to 113 with just under 2 minutes left to go in this final quarter. And I got the Pistons inbounding the ball over here. What's Cunningham going to do in this game? I'm not sure exactly how many points he's off, but he's going to go for a pull-up 2-pointer, and he's going to knock it down to give Detroit a bit more of a breathing room, now up by 6 points in this game. But Cenat, he's leading the game a little bit more with the New York Knicks. We've seen him be benched in this final 4th quarter, but he's starting now, and he's putting up big numbers in the NBA and the playoffs. He's played it over to Brunson. He goes for the spin move off into the shot, but unfortunately just missing that one. So the Knicks need a stop over here. They need to make sure Cunningham does not get another bucket. Cunningham driving through, missing the layup, and the Cooper flag is able to get the rebound for the New York Knicks. He's driven through, comes through with that one-handed slam, and knocks it down. I'm not sure whether he was going to pass it over to Kai in the corner there to knock down a 3-pointer, but he goes for the easy bucket to put them within 4 points of Detroit. And the Pistons are going to pass the ball around. Stewart up against Karl-Anthony Towns, almost with a double team, off to Sasa for the 3-pointer, and he knocks it down. So the Knicks again in trouble. 7 points between the two teams here. Brunson's going to lead it up for the Knicks. What is he going to do? Spin move, trying to find a bit of space. He goes for a tough layup, and he misses it. He's just unfortunately unable to get the rebound that time as well. So Cunningham's going to come the other way now. Come on, the Knicks really need a stop to get through to the final here in Game 7. Newell's going to try and hold on to the ball, though. Try and find the space. Already giving space to Cade Cunningham. They play it over to Mitchell for the 3-pointer, and he misses it, and Towns is able to get the rebound this time. Let's see what the Knicks do over here. Cooper flag is going to play it over to OG Anunoby. Back out to Cenat, off to Brunson. He thought about going for the 3-pointer. He comes through instead for the 2-pointer, and he knocks it down to put them within 5 points as Pistons call timeout. Cenat is going to get fouled out in this game, which is not going to help the Knicks at all, as the Pistons are sent to the free throw line. Smart is going to take the first one and make it to put them up to a 6-point lead in the game. The second one is also going to drop for him to put them up by 7. I do genuinely think that might be it for the Knicks, but they still got 21 seconds left to go, so who knows? They might find a bit of magic without Cenat. Off to Brunson for a corner 3-pointer. That's not going to drop for him. Towns with the rebound, back out to McBride. Another 3-pointer, and he knocks it down this time to put them within 4. Brunson, though, is also going to get fouled out after that intentional foul. So I really do think this is game for the Knicks. We're just going to sim the rest of it. And yeah, Cade Cunningham going for 38 points. Isaiah Stewart going for 25. Kai down on 17 points, letting the team down a little bit. Brunson on 23 and Towns on 28 there. It's not enough to beat the Pistons as they win 126 to 120. So that's it for the Knicks this time around. Anthony Edwards on the other side getting 36 points to get him the Western Conference Finals MVP. Let's just see what happens. The Timberwolves are going to sweep the Pistons. That was absolutely ridiculous. Anthony Edwards getting Finals MVP and a ring to his name, which isn't bad at all. Kai Cenat, though, we're going to have to go through into the next season to see what's going to happen with him and the Knicks. Doncic has already had enough of Wemby having that MVP award, putting up 31, 8, and 10, which is nuts. Wemby, though, sticking on to that Defensive Player of the Year award, putting up a ridiculous stat line as well. Doncic also getting Clutch Player of the Year, and the OKC going 63 wins throughout the season. But has Kai Cenat made any of the All-NBA teams? And we're not going to have anyone from New York in any of those All-NBA teams at all. Defensively as well, no one making the team except for Cooper Flagg. Kai Cenat, though, again, slightly improving over last season, putting up 27, 5, and 5, which isn't bad at all. But the Knicks are going to find themselves in the play-in tournament. I don't know what's wrong with their team at the moment. They have lost Karl-Anthony Towns, which is seeming to be a massive blow as their next best center is down here at 73 overall. So that's maybe someone they need to trade for in the offseason, getting a better center for the team. But right now they're in the play-in tournament against the Hawks, and they're actually going to make it through the play-in tournament to come up against the Washington Wizards. But unfortunately, that's going to be the end of the run for them as they go out in 6 games to the Wizards. Let's take a look at the box score, though. We had Cooper Flagg going for 22, Kai Cenat on 20, and Jalen Brunson on 16 points over there. So it definitely looks like the New York Knicks needs to find themselves a better center after Towns has left. Zion getting Western Conference Finals MVP, Ace Bailey getting Eastern Conference Finals MVP with the Charlotte Hornets. It's going to be a Hornets-Pelicans final with the Pelicans taking it in 4. Zion getting himself a ring and that Finals MVP award. So let's get through to the next season and hopefully Kai Cenat's team can find themselves a better center. It doesn't really look like the New York Knicks have found themselves a better center. They've got Jacobson here at 72 overall as their best center. They got 2 decent power forwards with Bryant and Almanza at 80 overall and 78 overall, but they'd still need that center, I think, if they want to get themselves far through the playoffs. And you can see the starts of the season has not looked great for them so far around. So Wemby taking back that MVP award, putting up a nuts stat line over there, and again picking up another Defensive Player of the Year award. I think I've got to do a video with Wemby just decreasing his height or something in a video to see what happens. We had Cooper Flagg of the Knicks making the All-NBA third team, which isn't bad at all. He's up to a 90 overall, but he's only got a year left on his contract. Wemby actually ended up being injured towards the end of the season, which hopefully bodes well for the playoffs come the rest of the teams. And Cooper Flagg, they're getting all defensive second team, hopefully helping the Knicks out, although they're still lacking that center spot at the moment. If we take a look at the roster, Kai Cenat now up to a 90 overall, putting up slightly worse numbers than he did last year, although he's probably got to share the rock a little bit with Cooper Flagg. And you can see the assist did go up a little bit from 4.8 to 5 over there. Rebounds going down a bit as well, and that points per game did slightly hurt, but at least he's going up in overall. Knicks are still yet to find themselves a good center for their team, and resultantly are not even going to make the playoffs this time around, which is a little bit of a shame. What's Kai Cenat actually saying, though? Apparently he's joyous over here, so is Cooper Flagg, so maybe Cooper Flagg will actually stay with the Knicks for one more season at least through this simulation. But let's see what happens in the playoffs to see who's going to make the final. Wemby's going to get himself through his injury and now making the finals against the Boston Celtics, but unfortunately the Celtics are going to sweep them.
We did it!
Tatum putting up 18, 9, and 6, which was somehow enough to beat the Spurs over here. What was going on? Jaylen Brown putting up some decent numbers in that final game. Wemby 28, 8, and 1, probably not as high on some of the stats as he would usually have. Jordan Poole again putting up decent numbers for him. That's interesting that the Celtics managed to sweep the Spurs, but that's another season done and another season where the Knicks don't have a great center. So hopefully they can find one in this 2029 offseason to help Kai Cenat get back to the NBA Finals, or at least just make the playoffs themselves instead of going out without anything to show for it for the season. So have the Knicks managed to find themselves a center? Unfortunately not, although Jacobson is slightly improving bit by bit, now up to a 77 overall. Kai Cenat's still there at a 90 overall. Cooper Flag has decided to stay another year on his contract, now up at 92 overall. So let's see what happens in this season and see whether the Knicks can improve and just about make the playoffs this time around. So Cameron Boozer is going to find himself getting the MVP award. A little bit of a surprise there, seeing him get the award instead of Doncic or, of course, Wembanyama. Wemby's still going to get another Defensive Player of the Year award. I don't think anyone else has won it so far this video. Doncic is going to find himself getting Clutch Player of the Year, still playing for the Dallas Mavericks. The OKC going 65 wins, and the Washington Wizards going for 61 wins throughout the season. Cooper Flag is again improving up to the All-NBA first team at 94 overall, which is a great addition for the Knicks. If we go into the standings, the Knicks again 54 losses throughout the season is not good at all. Kai's numbers improving a little bit over last season, up to 27, 4 and 5. A little bit generous there with the rounding, but he's up to 90 overall, still stuck there. But Cooper Flag up to a 94 should have helped this team. But again, I think it's that center spot they are really in desperate need of for this team to go anywhere come the playoffs. Kai Cenat has only got one more year left on his contract. I'm not sure whether that's this season or whether through the offseason he might go somewhere else. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Wemby getting Western Conference Finals MVP. It's going to be a Wizards-Spurs final, and the Washington Wizards are going to take it. With Cameron Boozer getting himself Finals MVP to add to that regular season MVP award. And it looks like Kai Cenat has decided to go ahead and leave the New York Knicks. Cooper Flag, though, is staying in New York, but let's see where Kai Cenat has actually gone. He's gone up to a 91 overall, and he's actually on the Timberwolves. He's on a one-year contract, but he's alongside Anthony Edwards, who's up to a 96, Sengun at 91, Kaspar's here at 87. They've got a very strong team around them, which hopefully bodes well come the regular season. So we have a new MVP for this season, and it's going to be AJ over here, putting up 19, 9 and 6 to win the award. That Defensive Player of the Year trophy is still sticking to Wemby just like glue with that season done, and the OKC are going to win 75 games throughout the regular season, which is ridiculous. Cooper Flag's going to get into the All-NBA first team there with the Knicks. He's up to a 93 overall, which is great. And we had Sengun, of course, with the Minnesota Timberwolves, also making that All-NBA second team. But the Timberwolves themselves were not doing great at all. You can see 51 losses throughout the season, and I don't really know what's wrong with this team. Like, it is a very good team on paper. You got Sengun playing really well. Anthony Edwards did drop massively throughout the season, down to a 92 overall. Kai's gone up to a 91 overall, but things really weren't just clicking for this team, and I'm not really too sure why. Yes, they had a couple of key injuries. You can see Kaspar's over there getting injured, and he was a good player for the team in general, but overall I thought they'd do a lot better. Maybe it's the bench players that they haven't got. They've got that good starting five, but apart from that, they haven't really got anyone. In terms of Kai's stats, you can see a little bit of a drop off there from what he was doing in New York, from 26 points down to 22 points. Anthony Edwards, again, another drop off for him, 25 points per game down to 20 points per game over there. It's a little bit of a shame to see. Sengun, of course, probably being their star player, wasn't really averaging a huge amount of points for the team overall, and that's probably why the team didn't even make the playoffs this time around. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Kai actually stays with the Timberwolves or whether he goes elsewhere at the end of this season. Of course, he was only on a one-year contract with them. As you can see, LaMelo Ball has now gone on to the Nuggets, which is interesting, but that OKC team is absolutely stacked. All of the players above 90 overall, except for the power forward in that starting five, is ridiculous. I reckon they'll probably go ahead and win this year's playoffs. We'll just sim through to see what happens. They're making it through, and SGA is going to get Western Conference Finals MVP over there. Thunderbucks final, and Thunder take it as AJ gets himself a Finals MVP to add to that regular season MVP award over there. So let's see what happens with Kai Cenat in the offseason to see whether he stays with the Timberwolves or hopefully whether he goes somewhere else to see what happens. So let's go ahead and take a look, and it looks like Kai Cenat has gone ahead and left the Timberwolves. So we're going to have to find him through all the players to see where he's actually ended up going, or whether he's in the free agency to see where he's gone. Really interesting to see that he's gone back over to New York. He's at an 89 overall, but he's on a one-year contract in New York now, coming back to the team after playing for them for so long. Let's take a look at the roster though to see whether it's any different from what it was last time. Whether maybe they found themselves a good center this time around, or maybe they've still got that lacking center spot from what we had previously. They've still got Cooper Flag and Koa Pete, which is going to be really good for the team at a 92 overall power forward. The center spot is not looking great, which is a shame. You've got an 80 overall center over there, King Backer over there. Not great. Jacobson's still there as well. So hopefully they can hold out without a great center for the team. They've still got some good positions elsewhere for the team, good players, so hopefully they can still play well throughout the regular season. They've started things off with a couple of wins, which is promising. Are they going to keep going through and win 82-0? It's stuck on November 4th. They got the Atlanta Hawks next. Come on, please get them another dub to continue this win streak. Unfortunately not. There we go. It's ended over there, and another loss followed by another one. So let's see what happens by the end of this season. So AJ again getting himself the MVP award this time around. We got Wemby again, another defensive player of the year award, which is nut. Cameron Boozer getting himself clutch player of the year. The OKC down a little bit from last year, now at 66 wins. I'm happy to report that the New York Knicks have played a lot better this season. Wemby's a 97 overall, which is absolutely nuts to see. But what have we got? Koa Pete over here on the All-NBA second team, which is great. We've also got Cooper Flag on the third team. Cenat not in All-NBA teams this time around, which is a little bit of a shame. But he has been on a much better team this season, finally getting back into the playoffs, being the third seed in the Eastern Conference. His numbers have dropped off a little bit from last season. He is 32 years old, and this is his 8th season in the league, but he's still a 90 overall, which isn't bad at all. So let's see how far he can get through in the playoffs this time around. He's up against the Indiana Pacers. Let's see what their team is looking like. I'm guessing it might be fairly strong. They got an 89 overall, 93. They're in there an 86 overall. So not an easy team by any means, but our New York Knicks team are fairly good nonetheless. You got an 82 overall point guard, Cenat, Cooper Flag, and Koa Pete, the big three in New York at the moment. Hopefully they can go ahead and get the dub in this series. First game is going to go to the Indiana Pacers though, which is a little bit unfortunate. So's the second game. Come on, the New York Knicks need to find a comeback. They're down 3-0 in this series. If they can win 4 games in a row, this will be absolutely nuts. But let's see what happens in game number 4. It's looking like the Pacers are going to run away with this one a little bit. The score is not even close, 126 to 115 by the end of that game. What was going on over there? Halliburton going for 22 points, White going for 32 points. On the other side, Cenat 24 points, Evans Jr. on 27, Koa Pete 12, 12, and 5 over there. But it looks like we didn't have Cooper Flag for that final game, which is a little bit of a shame. He's actually injured, which is not great at all. He sprained his left finger out for 1 or 2 weeks. Not a massive injury at all, but unfortunately, it does mean that the New York Knicks are out of the playoffs. But at least Cenat has made it back into the playoffs after what he had the last couple of seasons. We'll go through the final, which is going to be Thunder and Bucks, and the Thunder are going to take it 4-0 at the moment. The Thunder are looking absolutely unstoppable in this simulation. But let's see how many more seasons Kai's got in him and whether he can keep getting back up to the final. He's got a good core team around him in New York, but he was only on a 1-year contract, so he might sign for a different team. We'll have to wait and see through this offseason. Cenat is bouncing about everywhere. He's not stayed on the New York Knicks team. Cooper Flag and Koa Pete are still there at 93 overall each. We're going to have to find out where Cenat has gone to, whether he's gone to a rival team or not. We'll go down the list of players over here to try and find him. Sengun's down to a 91 overall, and we're still scrolling through to find Cenat over here. Karl-Anthony Towns at a 90 overall. Ja Morant at 89 overall, now playing on Miami's team. Antetokounmpo now on the Mavericks as well. Halliburton still on the Pacers. We're still going through though. Cenat has dropped though to an 87 overall, and it looks like he's in the free agency, which is quite interesting over here. Let's see if he's got any offers going for him over here. I didn't think he'd be in the free agency. I thought he would have re-signed with us or someone else at least, but we're going to have to go through a couple of games into the season to see whether anyone actually goes ahead and picking him up. We'll go through the first 2 weeks. The Knicks are playing okay-ish. 4 wins, 3 losses over there. And it does look like Cenat has been now signed, so we're going to have to go ahead and try and find him through the rosters to see where he's ended up. It's not going to be the New York Knicks, that's for sure, as he's not appearing on their roster. But we'll go through all the players to see if we can find him on this list. And we've got him now on a 1-year contract in Detroit over here. Let's check out the Detroit Pistons lineup to see if it's actually any good or whether he's made a bad decision with where he's ended up. And this is where Cade Cunningham still is at a 97 overall. They've also got Scoot Henderson at a 91 overall, Trae Young at an 89 overall, Naismith at an 88 overall, but 3-point guards and 2 shooting guards. It's going to be tough for Cenat to even make it into the starting 5 at only an 87 overall. This might be the downfall of Kai Cenat now, the regression as it were, as he's now an 87 overall at this 1-year contract. But let's see what happens in this season for Detroit and whether they can make the playoffs at least to give Kai Cenat another chance at getting a ring. AJ again getting an MVP award over there. We had Jordan Page getting himself 6th Man of the Year. Wemby, another Defensive Player of the Year trophy. Absolutely ridiculous, winning it year after year after year. We had the OKC again leading the charge with 69 wins throughout the season. All NBA teams didn't really see a great deal of players from the Detroit Pistons. In fact, none of them actually made it onto the All NBA teams at all, which is a little bit of a shame. And the team itself did not play great at all. They're not even going to be in the playoffs. And I think it really does show either that Kai Cenat needed to grow a few inches. Cade Cunningham got injured as well, which was a massive blow for this team. But again, they don't really have that size on their side. They've got 84 overall at the center spot. But again, they don't really have another backup center until you get down to a 74 overall. Even at the power forward spot, you got Almonzo over there at an 85 overall, and then going down to a 78 overall coming off the bench. So not a great team overall, and I'm really surprised Kai Cenat actually went with this team, considering he probably spent a lot of the time being on the bench, and you can see his numbers there completely dropping off as to what they were in New York, down from 18 points a game to 14 points a game. And the New York Knicks found themselves as the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. So I'm not really sure why he switched. He only had 1 year on this Detroit Piston contract, so he'll probably end up back in the free agency through next season. The Thunder absolutely unstoppable, winning that finals in a sweep, 4-0 for them. So let's see whether Kai Cenat stays with the Pistons. I hope for his sake he goes somewhere else, maybe the Knicks again, or maybe somewhere else to at least make it to the playoffs to give him a chance at getting an NBA championship, because the regression is going to hit hard, I think, as we keep going through these seasons. He's going to get lower in overall, and his height definitely doesn't help him in the NBA, only being 5'4". So we'll advance to next season and see what happens. I don't know why I had it on actually just automatically go through the off season, as it were. Usually it has all these menus. I don't know why I changed it to have it as just these two, but let's see what happens through this off season and where Kai Cenat has ended up as we wait for the game to load. There we go, we're through into it. So we'll go on to the rosters, and Kai Cenat luckily has not stayed with the Detroit Pistons. We'll go through and see if we can find him on all players over here. Where is he now? He's back in the free agency, down to an 85 overall. Surely he's not got long to go before his career is actually over. So we'll just simulate through some of the dates over here to see whether he gets signed by anyone. It looks like he's gone over to the Houston Rockets. He's down to an 86 overall, which isn't great. What is their roster looking like? He seems to be just hopping from team to team at the moment. But their team's over here. They've got a 94 overall shooting guard, a 91 overall center, which has been what Kai Cenat has been lacking, but he has dropped significantly in overall to the point where he's the 3rd choice shooting guard over here, which is a little bit of a shame. He's actually their 6th man, which isn't bad at all. So he is actually getting a decent amount of minutes, which isn't bad. So hopefully he can still get through this season fairly well and get him back into the playoffs with him now being on the Houston Rockets. I reckon he'll just hop teams from now on until the end of his career. AJ again getting himself the MVP award. This man will not stop at getting MVP awards. Same with Wemby getting another DPOY over there. The OKC again, 60 wins throughout the season. What's new over here in the All NBA teams? It's not looking like there's a lot, although I can say that the Rockets did play a lot better with Kai Cenat on their team, which is good to see. If we take a look at the standings, they are going to be the 4th seed in this Western Conference, which is great. Let's take a look at Kai's stats. You can see it has fallen off from last season in Detroit, but at least he's on a winning team now, averaging 13, 3, and 4 a game, which is not bad. You can see all of his awards there are just going to be from the first 2 seasons, which is a little bit of a shame to see. His career high in points is 49 at the moment. I'm trying to get to the one where it shows his progression. There you go. It's slightly dipped from year 7, as you can see over there, which is a little bit of a shame in terms of overall. Now an 87 overall, but at least he's back into the playoffs, so we got to see what happens over here. They're up against the Clippers in this first round of the playoffs. What team are they running with at the moment in the game? You can see they've got a bunch of players, including an 84 overall Zion Williamson. He's fallen off quite a bit from what he was at previously, but of course Kai Cenat isn't even in this starting 5 at the moment. He's going to be a bench player because we've already got a 95 rated shooting guard. But let's see what happens in the playoffs. Can the Rockets get quite far through the playoffs over here? They're going to take game 1 against the Clippers, which isn't bad. Game 2 again going to them, although the Clippers fighting back for win game 3 and game 4 to tie up the series. They're going to take game 5 though, so Kai Cenat could be out in the very first round against the Clippers. Let's see what happens in this next game over here. It's a must-win game for the Rockets, and it's looking fairly close against the Clippers, though as I say that, the Clippers are slightly running away with this one, and it isn't really going to end up being that close at all. 138 to 114. That was not great at all. Let's check the box score, though. You can see the Clippers there, 33, 22, 16, and 16. Thought that's Kai Cenat there for a second up at the top, but Kai Cenat on 14, 5, and 2. A decent bench player for them, and I think one of their players was probably injured during this game over here. You can actually see the fall off for Darius Garland. I know he's injured for a lot of the season, but he's lost 10 overalls because of that injury. But unfortunately, they were still unable to make it past that first round. And of course, Kai Cenat only had 1 year on his contract, and the Rockets, is he going to stay loyal to them, or is he going to go somewhere else? I have no idea. I hope he probably stays there, or at least goes to a decent team, because I'm not seeing him not make the playoffs again after what has happened so far during his career. And just like that, he's decided to leave the Houston Rockets. We're going to have to find out whether he's in the free agency or not again, or whether he's just actually gone ahead and retired overall. We'll take a look at the free agency. We're going to have to go down. LaMelo Ball's also in that free agency, an 87 overall. Is he going to be in the free agency until we're down to 86 overall? We got Ja Morant and Trae Young also in this free agency. It's not looking like Kai Cenat is actually here as well. Bronny James Jr. is there at an 84 overall in that free agency. Maybe Kai's already just signed with a team completely. We'll go over to the rosters though to check, or maybe he's just completely retired from the game and I would have missed it. It does look like Kai Cenat has completely retired from the game, unfortunately, because I didn't have the thing on during the off season. It was just automatically going through all of that, which is a little bit of a shame. Yeah, it definitely looks like he's ended his career, which is a little bit of a shame. It started off so promising, winning Rookie of the Year and then winning Finals MVP and getting a ring, but so far after that, it just been downhill for Kai Cenat. And I guess you really do have to have height when it comes to the NBA, no matter what your potential is in the game itself. But let me know in the comments down below what other NBA 2K25 videos you would like to see. And if you want to go check out what Shaq would look like if he was in the modern NBA, playing up against the likes of Wemby and Antetokounmpo, go check out the video in the bottom left hand corner, and I'll see you guys in that one. Peace.